Over to Annapolis, the 2020 legislative session is well underway in the Maryland General Assembly. Lawmakers are working on a bunch of initiatives from tackling COVID-19 to increasing funding for schools. But one conversation today was about major corporations that do business in Maryland and whether or not they are paying their fair share.
Yeah, so with us right now is WDVM's Stephen Cohen. Stephen, several large companies actually work in Maryland, but I understand that some lawmakers have argued that they're just not putting enough of their earnings back into the state. So are lawmakers proposing a solution?
That's right, Joe and Tasmin. We're talking about companies that are headquartered out of state, but they have operations in Maryland. The question is, do we tax them just on the revenue they generate from their Maryland operations or their earnings from other states too? Senator Paul Pinsky chairs the Education Committee and wants to be sure schools are funded. But
25% of our largest corporations in the state are paying zero corporate income tax. You and I are paying income tax, working families are paying income tax, they're paying nothing.
Advocates for reform say that is an unfair burden on homegrown enterprise.
Our current system gives an unfair advantage to these large multi-state corporations at the expense of our small and local businesses.
But Maryland risks losing jobs, says the State Chamber of Commerce.
As a tax policy, this disproportionately impacts the manufacturing sector. Since they primarily are selling and exporting goods across state lines, it seems an odd time to consider a policy like this when it's certainly an industry that is really struggling to operate at full capacity.
But it's a matter of fairness, says Shumitz.
These large companies aren't paying into the services that they benefit from. They still benefit from our schools, from having a highly educated workforce, from transportation networks to move their goods, but they're not necessarily paying into the system.
Maryland, she says, lags behind most other states here.
I think 28 states now and the District of Columbia all have combined reporting already.
Senator Pinsky is leading the cry for reform.
And it's abominable. We're paying taxes, they're using our infrastructure, and they're paying zero corporate taxes.
Taxes that could help improve Maryland schools, says Chairman Pinsky. And Joe and Tasmin, those who disagree with Senator Pinsky, they cite the example of Amazon recently choosing Virginia over Maryland for expanding their operations. Boeing not long ago chose South Carolina over Maryland to expand their operations. And most recently, the Intel Corporation made a multi-billion-dollar commitment to Ohio, keeping Maryland in the dust. So we'll just have to see how the General Assembly decides to proceed. Reporting live from the State House in Annapolis, Stephen Cohen for WDVM 25.
Yeah, Stephen, thanks. Amazon and Boeing certainly are big losses there. So those who oppose the so-called combining income reporting say Maryland would be at a competitive disadvantage, adding that there's one study showing that Maryland is 44th in the nation for its business climate.